Hello and welcome to another tutorial here with FlightSim. Today we are taking a look at FlightSim Studio's 727. So this is the freighter variant of the 727-200 by FlightSim Studios. I would like to say that this is just a bare bones flight simmer's guide to getting started with this particular aircraft. I am by no means a pilot. Neither am I an expert on this aircraft. It is not a comprehensive or exhaustive look at the entire aircraft and its features. This tutorial is just meant to get you started up and to help you get flying with this aircraft as quickly as possible as a flight simmer. Now, having said that, let's go ahead and jump into the cockpit and get today's flight started. We are starting off today's journey from Leipzig, Hall, I believe, from which is in Germany. So we're going to take off from Leipzig, Hall in Germany. The code is EDDP, Echo Delta Delta Papa. We're going to fly over to Warsaw in Poland, where the code is EPWA, which is Echo Papa Whiskey Alpha. That being said, let's jump into the cockpit and get ourselves ready to get on out of here. Okay, here we are in the cockpit. Sorry about that. Here we are in the cockpit. Very nice looking retro cockpit right here. Got the engineer's panel right there as well. So lots of controls. Can look very daunting at first, but it's fairly simple and the systems are very similar to existing aircrafts. Just that there are a few more switches here and there to flick, but the mechanisms are very recognizable. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up this clipboard here, which is kind of the EFB in this particular aircraft. Let's connect up the external power. And you've got a number of options here that you can use to set up your aircraft to your liking. Got your cockpit views, your clock times, your auto throttle. Today I am using the auto throttle module here. Traditionally, it doesn't have an auto throttle module, but right here today we're flying with it. It will help you in the beginning to get started with the aircraft. If you don't want to fly with it, you don't have to. But for today's flight, I'm using it just to show you how it works. And no winglet installed for today's flight. You can change that as you wish. Okay, let's come down here. For today's navigation equipment, we are using the GNS XLS system, which I find is a nice balance between the new and the old. There is the choice of the INS system, which is the original system in this aircraft, and it's much older. It is a little more complex, and we'll cover that in some other tutorial. But for today, we're going with this flight. If you want something a little more modern and familiar, you can use the GNS 530, but that's kind of no fun. So we're going to go with GNS XLS for today. Units, since we're flying Boeing, I like to stick to Imperial, although we're flying in Europe. And you've got a number of options here you can set up. If you're using GSX, you can set that up. Auto mode if you like. For me, I like that off for the time being, etc. In our pre-flight section, we can go ahead and download the flight plan from SimBrief. So today I have a flight plan in SimBrief and I've just downloaded that. I'm not going to be using GSX because we're doing a tutorial. I have it disabled here. We're just going to go ahead and load our aircraft. I'm going to fast forward that. There you go. We've loaded up 48,000 pounds of cargo there, as well as the cockpit. 2 pilot weights have also been loaded up. Let's fuel up in a similar manner. We're going to fast forward the fueling. There you go, 24,387, 3 times this. Center tank, right tank, and left tank all filled up, and our aircraft is done. Okay, so here in the takeoff page, we're going to calculate the performance based on the current conditions of where we are taking off from and our actual weight of the aircraft. So we're going to come back to this page in just a second. Firstly, let's go ahead and power up the aircraft and get external power hooked up to it, and then we'll see how we can move from there. So the battery section is right here. Now I recommend that you have views set up for each of these panels right here, and there's also the APU section right here and the overhead and the usual other places as well. I recommend that you have views set up for it so you can easily switch between them. So the top half of the engineer's panel is where you'll find your battery. Close that up. Battery is loaded up. Great. We have external power. So we're going to use that today. Flick it on there. Now essential power source, we're going to go to external power. Come here, switch it to external power. You can monitor here as well. External power, we're good with all our power requirements, just like that. Brilliant. That's all good and lovely. Okay, so there's nothing else for us to do right here until we start up our APU. So for now, we're looking good. Let's go to our overhead section. Navigation lights are on. All other lights are off. All other lights should be off. So I don't know why the strobe lights were on, but we need them off. Every other light should be off apart from your navigation light at this stage of the flight. There we go. Let's go through this entire section right now. Anti-skid, we're going to turn that on right before takeoff. All of this is looking good. We don't need to do anything here, nothing here. Compass is slaved. All of these are in the normal position. This is all fine. We don't need to do any of this. Auto brakes can come to the RTO position. Windshield wipers can be parked. Emergency lights can be armed just by closing that. This is the engine start section. We'll come back to it obviously. Compass is slaved. Let's put our fasten seatbelts and no smoking signs on. The speaker thing, it's from the passenger variant, so we don't really need to worry about it. If you are flying the passenger variant, you can turn it on, up to you. We got a window heat. We're going to come back to it after APU is running. For now, we're going to leave it alone. Pitot heats, we're going to leave it alone. Now, if you want any sort of lighting, you can do that from this panel right here. You can control the lighting for the overhead panel right here. You can control the lighting for your central forward panel, which is stuff right here, there. You see that? So you can control all the lighting that you want to. And for today, I'm just going to leave these on just because, why not? So that does our overhead for now. We'll come back to it in just a second. Similarly, if we come to the engineers panel, we also have the lighting section here. You can use it as you want. So if you want this, if you want that, whatever you want, just set it as you wish, okay? So you can set everything as you wish, and there you go. You can set it as you wish. Okay? Great, all that's said and done. Now, at this stage, you can either switch on the APU and leave it running on the APU, then go to set up your nav system here, or you can set up your nav system now. Now, for the sake of today's tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and set up the nav system before the APU. Okay? So especially since we're on the cargo variant, we don't have passengers loading. Doesn't really matter. You can turn on the APU now. It's fine. It's entirely fine. It's up to you. But for today, I'm going to do this first. Just so we have a more step-by-step and I can put clear distinction between the various stages. Let's turn on the navigation. Let's wait for the self-test to go on here. While that's happening, we can set up the barometric pressure using this knob here. Or if you have a shortcut set like I do, I'm just going to set it to the local pressure. Just get that to go off right there. But there you go. There's your barometric pressure setup. Wait for the self-test to finish. And while that's happening, let me take you through the route for today on Little Nav Map. Today we are at Leipzig Hall, ADDP, like I mentioned. We're at this particular cargo stand right here. We're going to take off from here. And we're going to perform sort of a U-turn on our way to Warsaw, which is right here. So that's the arrival procedure we're going to be using. We're going to land using the ILS into runway 33 at Warsaw. So there is an overview of our flight plan. I'm going to take a look at it in just a second. I'm going to leave this open here. Let's also go ahead and uncage this. Standby attitude indicator here. We'll do that right away before we have anything running. So there we go. And that's set. Okay, great. Let me open up my flight plan. There is our SimBrief flight plan right here. Brilliant. So initialization, identity position. I'm just going to press enter here. There's your flight plan from SimBrief that you downloaded using the chart earlier on. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Enter. There's our flight plan. Have a quick look through it. And that seems like the flight plan we have right here. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, enter it. There you go. First thing I'm going to do, just go through it one more time. That is the right one. Let's select our departure for today. What runway are we departing out of? 26 right. That's right there. Enter it. What SID are we using? Penne 1 November. That's right here. Enter it, and that's done. So there are your waypoints of the SID. You can check that, confirm that. So let me go ahead and confirm that. We've got that 900 feet one right here, altitude 900 feet. And then we've got our DP528 and Penem, and that is all correct right here. So we can go ahead and select it, enter. Now, for our approach or for our arrival, let's go to our arrival first. Which star are we using? Or arrival procedure. Obviously, you can do this en route to your destination, which is how it's usually done. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and do it right away. We have BIMP 6 uniform, which is right here. I'm going to enter it. Okay. Now let me go select my runway for the day, which is runway 33. There you go. Enter it. And that's done. Okay. Those are the waypoints of the star. We can go ahead and confirm that. We can go ahead and confirm that right here. So we've got Bimpa, which is right here. We've got Kulu, we got Mensi, we got Rebzo. If we go to the next page, we got go to the previous page. We've got Sofuz right here. We've got Adini, we've got Lembu, we've got WA536, which is in the next page. We got 534, and we've got the runway directly. So here we have the ILS showing as well. We'll come to that in a second. So this is the right SID. We're going to select it, enter. Now how are we going to approach it? So let's go select the approach here. Runway is obviously runway 33. We're going to enter that. What approach are we using? We're going to use approach ILS Z. We're going to enter that. There are the waypoints of our new approach there, which is WA534, which is right here. WA533. Okay, then we have air leg, which is right here. We have WA529, which is right here, and then followed by the runway, which is perfectly fine. So we're going to go select that, and we're going to press enter. And if we go through our flight plan now, we've got all our waypoints correctly set there. Once that is done, you can go to the nav page here to keep a track of the progress as you fly from waypoint to waypoint, from this waypoint to the next waypoint, distance, estimated time, the track there, the ground speed, the wind, etc. And if you come to flight plan and press that one more time, you can see the entire flight plan right here. Okay, so there you go. VNav here, inactive. Okay, and I have no way of setting that up for the time being. Okay, but we've got our cruising altitude. You can set this up, transition level, and all of that stuff. You already have all of this from your flight plan imported directly, so we don't need to worry about it. Just like that, we're done with all of this. Let's put that away. I'll put little nav map away for the time being as well. Since we've already loaded up the aircraft and we don't need to wait for any ground services, we can actually go ahead and request pushback as soon as we've turned on our APU, which is going to reduce our workload. So once we finish turning on our APU, we'll fill up this takeoff performance page. Okay, so let's come here and let's go down to the APU panel. Ooh, ignore that please, my bad. Ignore that. Okay, so we are right here. Let's go ahead and start up the APU. Push it to start. You'll hear it starting up, as well as you'll see the exhaust temperatures rising here. We'll wait for this to stabilize. There we go. Okay, APU coming to life. Let that happen. You also have a nice little checklist here that you can refer to once you've gotten used to flying this aircraft. Try not to get confused by it in the beginning, but yeah. For now, we're okay. We don't need to refer to this. There we go, that's ready. So, what we're going to do is, this tells us that the circuit is open. The generator circuit is open. We want to close it so we can get power from it. We're going to close it up. If we come up here now, you can see this light has lit up. We need to switch this to the APU. Ground power has gone off automatically. Switch this to the APU so we can monitor that. And this is good. There you go. Now we're running on APU. You can actually turn on the packs as well. You can see that the bleeds are open here. And we've got our packs running, and cargo heat outflow can come on as well. Whilst we're here, let's go ahead and set up our pressurization and altitude section right here. Now, if we take a look at our flight plan, cruising altitude is 31,000 feet. Let's put that flight altitude here at 31,000 feet. Refer to this chart right here. For 31,000 feet, we're supposed to have a cabin altitude of 4.1. So let's tune that in right here so that the pressurization system can do its thing correctly. Okay, there you go. 4.1, 4,100 feet. So 31,000, 4,100 feet, that's done. So on the ground mode for now, we'll switch it to flight right before takeoff, which is how I usually do it. Again, I'm no pilot, but it works for me. All right, good. All of that is done. We have done the external power, we've done the APU, we've set up our navigation system. Now let's go ahead and set up our takeoff performance. Let's do that before anything else, right? So first, let's set up our iCow here. EDDP. We're going to take off from runway 26 right. Let's go. Let's refresh the weather. That is the latest weather we have. And there is our performance and V-speeds automatically calculated based on the weight of the aircraft and the prevailing conditions and our location. So we can just press the set speeds here to get these knobs set up for us. There you go. We've got our V1 and VR at 134. That's set up for us. V2 is this red marker right here at 148. This red marker is the same one that the auto throttle will follow. So that's why we have the red marker at 148, and when you engage the auto throttle, that's the red marker is the one that the auto throttle is going to follow. You can adjust it using this knob here. So it's already done for us. We got our 520 at right here. So these are corresponding to how we can work with the flaps. 520, the speeds are right here for retraction. At least that's how I like to follow it. Now, performance, we have our takeoff EPR. So there will be a bug that will be set for us, so we can set that during takeoff as our reference. And we'll have our takeoff trim already calculated for us. We can set that up in the wheel. Now for the wheel to be available to us, we need to do something right here. This is something that you should not forget. After your APU has been running and set up, one of the hydraulic systems, the hydraulic of the pump 1, should be turned on, so we have essential power to our hydraulics and we can operate some basics. We should also have galley power 1 and 2 on. This isn't much of an operational thing, but nonetheless, just for the sake of it, turn that on. And also turn on one of these hydraulic systems, so we have got hydraulic power for basic stuff. Okay, great. So once that's done, we can see that our wheel here is now available. Our trim is now available for us to set. So we've got hydraulics there. So we can just quickly set it by pressing that button right there, set EPR and trim. And that will set our takeoff. So I'm going to press set EPR and trim there. There you go. Our takeoff trim has been set automatically for us. As you can tell, 3.75 has been set successfully. You can also see that a little marker has come up from this all the way up here, and that is where we'll go and set the engine pressure ratio for takeoff. There we go. Just like that, the performance part is done. Okay, good. Now this is for descent calculation. You can use that if you want to, or you can just use any other method you have with you for calculating that. So all of that is done. Let's go up here. We can turn on our window heats now. After APU start, we can turn on our window heats. There we go. If you need any anti-ice right here, you can use them as required. Pitot heats can continue to be off for the time being. Once all of this is done, let's go ahead and request pushback. Now, before engine start, we're going to turn off our packs. I'm going to turn on the boost pumps here. I like to leave all the boost pumps on along with all the valves open. This might not necessarily be how things are done. If you want to, you can just turn on one on each side at first for startup and then turn them back on once everything is started up. It's up to you. So for now, we're going to leave it exactly the way it is. And let's go ahead. Okay. All right. It's just for vanity purposes. It doesn't really, we're not really using any of this. So anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and request pushback before engine startup. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here with the GSX for today. Prepare for pushback and departure. Did I press that? Sorry. Prepare for pushback and departure. DHL wide. And that will get all of that started up. There we go. All right. Once pushback has started, I will tune back in with you guys. Obviously, our parking brake is set. As a matter of fact, if we come back to the earlier pages here, since we are already on APU, we can remove the chocks, remove the cons, and remove your ground power as well. Because parking brake is set and we are on APU. We don't need these. So we'll remove those items there. And then we'll get started with our pushback. Once pushback has begun, I'll chime in with you one more time. We'll get our engine started up and get on our merry way towards Warsaw. Okay, our pushback has begun here. We are being pushed back successfully. Let's go back into the cockpit here and get started up, shall we? First things first, we're going to turn off both the packs. Wait for that pressure to go back up. Nice and easy. There we go. There we go. Good, 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 good. Let's go ahead and turn these pumps on right here. This is how I like to do them. I usually turn all of them on at the same time. Doesn't really make much of a difference. I like to leave these open, not closed. And we've got all of this exactly the way it is. Okay, great. Now, let's go overhead, turn on our beacon lights. Go to the engine number 3, push it down to ground position. Come down here, observe N2. There we go, N2 is rising. About 10% N2, or a little above that, we can flick open the cutoff lever right there. That'll get our N1 rising as well. Oh, pushback has ended. Let's put our parking brakes. There we go. And we'll know when the startup procedure has finished, when the start valves are closed, when this light goes off. So we got one for every engine. When this light goes off, we can proceed with the next engine. Okay, waiting for that light to go off. There we go. That light has gone off successfully. Let's go back overhead. Do the same with engine number 2. Down here, N2 is rising. We can see that for engine number 2. 10%, a little above. Let's flick that open. Tug is disconnecting there. We'll wait for this light to extinguish. You'll see all sorts of stuff happening with the pressure. Engine number 2 bleed has also come on line, so we see the pressure has gone back up. There we go. Waiting for that light to switch itself off. Okay, still waiting. Ta-da! There we go. Let's go ahead and flick open the ground position thing for engine number 1. Come down here, N2 rising for engine number 1. A little over 10%. Looking good. Let's come down here, flick that open. Go down here, wait for this light to extinguish. Then we know we've had a good engine start on all 3. We'll also monitor the N1, N2 values and check it out, as well as the EPR values. Okay, there we go. We can go up here, close that down. Okay, I'm just making sure that I turned on the radio masters. I haven't. So this is something important. None of your radio navigation systems are going to work. Your radios are not going to work unless you go and turn this two switches. I had a feeling I didn't turn these on. So you got to put them on right here. It's behind the captain. You got to make sure those are on for your systems to work properly, okay? So there we go. That is done. Our engines, let's take a look at our engines right here. Oh, sorry. Engines are looking good. All three engines are looking good. EPR looking good. N1 looking good. Everything's fantastic. Great. Now let's go overhead. Let's go to our taxi light. We can turn that on, right? We can turn that on. Probe heaters can come on, or you can turn these on right before takeoff. Doesn't really matter. So we can put all of these on. Is this on normal? Yeah. It's on test. Okay. Just gonna put it back on normal, doesn't matter. There we go. All of that is done. Taxi lights are on. Now let's set up our flap position according to our performance page. If we come to takeoff, it is supposed to be flaps 15 today. So let's go ahead and set that right here. 1, 2, 5, 15, and you can see the flaps traveling right here, going down to 15 degrees. Brilliant. All right, just like that, we're ready to taxi, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back up here. Before we do taxi, let's turn our packs back on. That is on. That's good. All of this are open. There we go. We've got good stuff going on here. Everything looking good. Now once that's done, our APU is still running. Remember that? We need to switch power from our APU to the 3 generators right here. We got to close those 3, one for each of the engine gens, and switch to one of the generators right here. Switch right here. And we are now running on one of the generators for engine power. Good. Let's come down here. We'll turn on the remaining hydraulic system pump. Got no red lights anywhere on the engineering panel, which is excellent. We've got no red lights anywhere on the overhead panel, only the green lights for the window heat. Looking good. Now let's come to where the APU is. We no longer need it, so we're going to turn it off. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. You can hear it spool down right there. And you'll see the exhaust temperatures drop as slowly as they should. Once all of that is done, we're pretty much ready to get ourselves taxiing. We'll obviously take care of some stuff in the engineering panel right before takeoff, but that's once we are ready for takeoff. Releasing parking brake. Give it a bit of positive power right there. And use power as necessary to get yourself taxiing. And we are on our way, ladies and gentlemen. We are taxiing. Pretty much ready for takeoff in every way. Okay? Not ready for takeoff, sorry. Ready for taxi for now. Okay, so I shall see you at the end of taxi as we hold short right before our takeoff runway for the day. And then we'll do some last minute changes. Oh, I nearly forgot about this. Our TCAS, it should be on altitude reporting mode for the time being. We'll switch it right before takeoff onto TA. Okay, so that's something I kind of left out, but better late than never. There we go. All right, I shall catch you right as we hold short of the runway, ready to take off. All right, we are holding short of our takeoff runway for the time being. Before we take off, or configure for takeoff for that matter, I would like to speak a little bit about the autopilot system. So the autopilot controls are right here at the center pedestal. There is the master engage and disengage button or switch right here. Got your heading select, altitude select. You can arm it and engage. You've got your heading here as well. You've got your turn knob, which you can use to turn indirectly using the autopilot. Got your vertical speed. Got your nav selector. You've got nav localizer. Then you've got your turn knob if you're using this to turn. Got your auto glide slope and your manual glide slope, or however you want to do it. Then you've also got your pitch selector, which is vertical speed, IS hold mode, or your pitch hold mode. So you've got all these modes available to you. Pretty self-explanatory, but we will see how we can use this. I often find that switching between manual and autopilot in this aircraft is quite wonky for me. So yeah, altitude select. Let's go ahead and tune in our initial climb out altitude, which is going to be 10,000 feet. And then from there, we'll climb out towards our cruising altitude of 31,000 feet. If you need to change the altitude in hundreds of feet, you can just flick open that mode to the down position. And in thousands of feet, you put it up. There you go. Here you have the button to switch between nav and GPS. Okay, nav and GPS. Now, if it's on nav mode, the autopilot needs to be set to this nav lock mode, and it's going to follow whatever the nav is tuned to. So whatever the navigation radio is tuned to is what it's going to follow. If it's tuned to a localizer, it's going to do that. If it's tuned to a beacon, it's going to do that. In the GPS mode, if you flick that open and leave this on the nav mode, nav lock mode, it's going to follow the GPS track. So that's how this works. All right. So for our purposes today, we need it on GPS because we needed to follow a specific GPS track, which is the flight plan that I showed you in Little Navmap. Let me bring that open right here. There we go. We're not using any NDBs or any of that today. So we need this, the GPS mode for now. And when it's time for us to go into the ILS, we're going to switch this to nav mode. We're going to tune the correct frequencies at the pedestal and put this on nav lock. That will get us the localizer. Once that's done, we'll go to auto glide slope. That will get us the glide slope as well. We'll obviously see how that works in a bit. But I just wanted to mention that to you because I would not have the time to explain that when I'm in the air switching. Okay, there we go. All of that explained, and we are ready to go. I'm going to leave this nav map open here as we take off so that you guys can see exactly what kind of turn I'm going to follow and all that like. Now the flight director, you can use it as a guide, and today I'm going to use it for a vertical on the VL mode right here, and that will help guide us as we fly along. We also have GPS set here, not nav, GPS. So it will help guide me along this track laterally, more or less, not exactly vertically, but laterally, because we don't have VNAV, much in the way of VNAV. So it will help me laterally. Okay, good. Now VNAV here, I have no idea how to set it up, quite frankly, or whether it's even possible to set it up accurately. But we do have, if we take a look at this, descent calculation, which you can use if you like. But for today, we're just going to go ahead and take off. And I'm going to leave this closed for the time being. So let's go overhead, get our landing lights on here, get the strobe, runway turn off, why not? Strobe lights on. This is on already, right? Yes, it is good. We'll leave all those lights on. In addition to that, let's go to TCAS, put that on TA or TARA, whichever you prefer. Let's go here to the altitude section. I'm going to put this on flight. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to flick this to flight as well. Okay, rather than the ground position. And we are ready to go. Yep, I believe we are ready to take off. So let's release our parking brake. And give us a bit of power there so we can get moving. And let's go in and take off. So we need to set EPR at that bug right there. Flap set, auto brake set, everything is set as it should. Just use up a little bit more of the runway because it's available. There we go. Let's turn in and line up with the runway here. Go, come on. I've also got callouts selected from that EFB chart, so we'll have some lovely callouts along the way. Yeah, we're pretty much lined up. We are ready to go. Let's set our EPR. There we go. That's a little over, but that's okay. Wait. Are we taking off from the wrong runway?
80 knots.
Rejected takeoff. So this is a very common mistake I make. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I make this mistake all the time. We're taking off from the wrong runway. I'm so used to taking off from this side that I made that mistake. I'm just gonna leave this in so you guys can observe me making that mistake. So yeah, I made that mistake. That was the wrong runway to take off from. I did not notice that this entire time until right now. So yeah, this is an example of how you get conditioned. I always take off from this runway at Leipzig and I got used to it. So today we're going on the other side of the runway. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna leave this in so you guys can observe that mistake I just made. Terrible mistake, by the way. You get so tuned in that you forget even which runway. Come on, that's just terrible, isn't it? Anyway, let's go to 26 right, which luckily for us, our rejected takeoff brings us there. We don't have to taxi. Yikes. Okay. This is why I could never be a commercial pilot. Anyway, let's go to 26 right. We'll turn around and we will try this one more time. Oh, good lordy. Everything was about to malfunction. The GPS and the autopilot, and I would have been thoroughly confused. I would have had no idea why that happened, but we were lined up with the wrong runway. Yeah. So this is where we're supposed to be taking off from, okay? So let's go ahead and turn ourselves in there and get ourselves lined up with the correct runway for once. This is a common mistake I make. I'm not gonna lie to you. I get confused with when the runway is lit up in orange like this. I get confused and I go to the wrong runway. Okay, runway 26R. Yes, this is the correct runway. There we go. Phew. Okay, let's just line up one more time and we'll do this once again. Luckily we didn't cross V1, just crossed 80 knots, so we were able to reject that takeoff. Attempting to line up. Yeah, we're good enough. We'll be able to take off now. Okay, EPR coming to life. There we go. It's good enough for us. Let's take off.
knots.
80 knots. $100 knots passed.
V1.
Rotate. Okay, let's rotate this. There we go.
Positive rate.
Gear up. Let's turn our aircraft. There we go. Let's put our flaps up to position 5. Looking okay. There we go. Let's turn towards DP528. There we go. Looking okay. Let's switch on autopilot right now. Switching on autopilot. We're engaging auto throttle and we're going to increase our speed here. There we go. Turned on autopilot. We're going to the nav lock mode. Going to arm the altitude, which is 10,000 feet. And we are going to use vertical speed here, but not that steep of a climb. Somewhere right there, perhaps. There we go. We're looking okay. Good. Everything is working as it should. Okay, we can put our flaps slowly up. was a premature flap retraction, to be honest with you. The gear can come to the off position. There we go. Yep, our nav mode is working, as we can confirm from following the flight plan. Now the flight director isn't linked to the autopilot automatically, by the way. So that's something to remember. So depending on the mode that you choose, it will display something completely different. So yeah, but for now we're okay. There we go. We've reached our target speed. We can increase that speed up to 250, put our flaps up fully. Okay, that's looking okay. There we go, flaps up. We go up here. And turn that off, turn the runway turn off lights off. Auto brakes disarmed. Everything else looking good as we climb out towards 10,000 feet. We've turned towards our next waypoint of Pennock, and that's functioning just fine. There we go. We can see that happening. Let's go up here. Our cabin altitude is climbing. That's okay here. Everything else here is looking good. Okay, it's come down to normal mode. This is fine. Packs are fine. Everything else is looking good. Overhead, everything is looking good. There we go. We're on our way towards 10,000 feet. As a matter of fact, it's just 2,000 feet more. There we go. We're climbing out nice and easy. Very, very nice. Okay, GPS mode. And the VR localizer light is going to turn on. But that's okay. We are on nav lock mode. As long as you have this on GPS, that means it's all good. Okay, there you go. 1,000 feet to go towards 10,000 feet. Altitude will go from arm, which is the amber light here, to engaged, which is the green light. Means it's holding altitude. That will happen momentarily. Okay, 97. Once we reach that, we'll continue on our climb to 31,000 feet. So there you go. Okay, we're flattening out our climb there, coming on 10,000 feet. We take a look at our autopilot. There we go. We have the green engage light open there. And we are looking good. There we go. We're making that nice turn towards our next waypoint after Pennock, which is Rudak, which is on the flight plan right here. You can see that. There you go. Looking good. So our flight director is doing the lateral navigation. It's giving us a lateral indication on the CDI very well, but obviously the vertical one isn't tuned in. We don't have VNAV, so that's not working, and that's okay. So now let's go ahead, choose 31,000 feet, continue our climb here, go to 31,000 feet, arm the altitude selector, and then we can use either the vertical speed mode, which we used on our climb to 10,000 feet. So this time let's use the IAS hold mode, where it's going to hold this particular speed, assuming you have auto throttle engaged, that is. Okay, it's going to hold that speed and climb as steeply as it can towards the altitude you've selected in IAS hold mode. So we have IAS hold mode at the moment. It's going to automatically manage the vertical speed till we reach the selected altitude at that selected speed. There you go. Looking good. Excellent. So we're going to continue our climb out till 31,000 feet. We can go overhead since we're over 10,000 feet. Turn all of these off now. Landing lights can come off. Everything else looking good. Passenger signs can come off. Not that it matters on this particular aircraft. But yeah, there we are. Climbing out. So this is a very basic way to get started with this aircraft that keeps the operations as similar as possible to our modern Boeings or Airbuses, for instance. Obviously this is not the exact correct operational procedure for their particular aircraft, but this helps you to keep things as familiar as possible. There we are. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on our climb to 31,000 feet. I'll meet you at top of climb. Afterwards, we're going to continue the cruise, which I'm going to skip through, and then I'll see you again at top of descent so we can see how we can get to our destination. All right. So for now, I'll meet you at top of climb. All right, everybody, we have reached the top of climb at 31,000 feet. We can now go ahead and increase our speed for the auto throttle to follow. So let it increase and we can kind of push it a little bit, go a little bit faster right there. If we take a look at the center pedestal, there we go. Altitude is being engaged. That means it's holding that altitude right now. We're on pitch selector. It doesn't matter. Nav lock is still engaged, autopilot is on, and we are carrying on. If you want the flight director to display how to hold altitude, you can turn this on. That will make the flight director show you the vertical portion of that CDI there as well. Again, the flight director is not linked automatically to the autopilot, so you could be seeing something completely different on the CDI to what the aircraft is actually doing. So beware of that if you're using the flight director. Just remember that it can confuse you. Apart from that, we're looking good. Continuing on our journey here, I shall tune in again when we are somewhere near the top of descent. These are not accurate top of descents, but we'll see. Again, the chart does give you the option of calculating that. A managed descent, including your target descent. So if we take a look here, we're supposed to be around 3,000 feet at WA529, where we're expected to catch the ILS and the glide slope, etc, etc, etc. So 3,000 feet, so you can put in your target here if you like at 3,000 feet. Okay, so required distance is 88 nautical miles from WA529 is when we're supposed to start our descent if we want to reach 3,000 feet by that particular waypoint, and required VS at 1500. So yeah, we can also do the managed descent and press this when we're ready to if you want to. But yeah, so you can use this descent calculator if you want. But for today, I'm just going to begin our descent somewhere around this part, and we're just going to manually wing it and see how we do it. Anyway, I shall catch you guys now at top of descent. I'm going to continue our journey till I reach top of descent. Alrighty. Alrighty, we are approaching our top of descent here apparently, and if you take a look at BIMPA, we are supposed to be below 19,000 feet and below 280 knots here. So we need to probably start descending from our 31,000 feet. We have roughly about 12,000 feet or so to lose. So let's go ahead and begin doing that right away, right? So we'll wait a little bit more once we reach top of descent. Also remember, we have to tune in the ILS frequencies right here, which is not done for us today. So we need to make sure that we have the ILS frequencies tuned in here correctly as we come into land at runway 33. We need to be careful of that as well, and we need to set the course of that particular runway right here to help us with our navigation as well. So those are things for us to remember. But for now, we need to prepare for our descent to 19,000 feet. Well, below 19,000 feet, so I'll say 18,000 feet. There you go. You can go ahead and begin that descent. How? Let's go ahead and arm that altitude first. Okay. And then our aircraft is kind of slightly descending. That's interesting. Let's go to vertical speed mode. And let's begin our descent with vertical speed mode, requesting a slight descent there. We're supposed to be below 280 knots. We can reduce our speed slightly here so we can stay on top of our speed a little bit easier. But we have begun our descent. We're gonna go down at a steeper rate of descent here, maybe about 1500 or maybe 1750 would be more apt. Yeah, maybe even 2000 will be more apt to lose about 12,000 feet. Yeah, let's go down a little bit steeper. There we go, maybe around there. That sounds more like it. There we go, let's go down at 2000. Why not? So we're gonna go down at 2000 feet. Gonna go down towards 18,000 feet, maintaining that speed right there. We need to be below 280 when we reach Bimpa, so we need to be a little bit careful of that. But I think we've got plenty of room here to make it. 29,000 feet already. I think we'll be okay. We'll make necessary adjustments as we go along here. So yeah, I'll check in with you as we are closer to Bimpa and see how we are looking. Alright, we're coming up on Bimpa here and we are looking good on the speed, looking good on the altitude. Just perfect. We've reached 18,000 feet, holding near 250 knot, not exactly, but definitely under 280, I hope. So our next waypoint, we need to be below 250 knots, and the waypoint after that below 12,000 feet, so we can begin a slow descent towards 10,000 feet here, as well as reduce our speed towards 250, somewhere near 250, which we can do a couple of nautical miles in front of this particular waypoint. Kewlu, Kevlu, whatever you want to call it, but Kewlu here. So yeah, let's begin a very slow descent towards 10,000 feet. So it's gonna be very, very gentle. Let's arm that. Let's go down at like literally a speck. So maybe 500 feet per minute for the time being is enough. Can we get 500 on this? There we go, somewhere near 500 feet per minute. Just like that, nice and easy. We'll supposed to be below 250. We'll set that up shortly. But for now, we're going at a very slow descent so that we can be below 12,000 feet at Mency. Let's see how that goes. Maybe we can, yeah, maybe we can do a slightly faster descent than just. I'm not sure. Maybe we can just leave it like this, or a slightly faster descent, perhaps. Yeah, maybe a slightly faster one. Maybe let's go down by about 750 or so. There we go. That's somewhere near 750. That's somewhere near 750. That looks a little better. So yeah, we have about 7,000 feet to lose by about Mency, which shouldn't be too difficult, but our rate is very, very low. Let's go down a little bit more, closer towards 1,000, and that should get us there. Okay, so to Kewlu or Kewlu, or however you want to say it, we have 12 nautical miles. When we're just a couple of nautical miles away from it, we'll bring that bug down and we'll go below 250 knots. For now, we're looking good. I shall chime in with you when we reach closer towards, actually when we reach the turn at Kewlu. We'll see that, okay? This is a good time right now, as a matter of fact, to tune in the ILS here, 110.30. Let's do that right now. 110.30. Okay, and this is active. I'm going to put this on standby mode just to avoid any confusion there. This is on the other side, obviously, but still. So 110.30 right here. Yeah, this is into runway 33. 110.30 for our landing as ILS Cat 3. So we have glide slope and localizer, obviously. Yep, course of 325. We'll set the course in a bit though. Or should we just set it and forget about it? You know what, why not? We'll set it and forget about it. 325 as the course here. Let's put that in. 300. Wait, where is the course knob? The course knob is absent. I don't know where the course knob is, but okay. I'll just set the heading here through to 325. So if we want to put 325, there's your 300, there's your 1, there's your 2, there's your 3, somewhere here. We'll just leave it there for the time being. It's not that urgent anyway, so we'll just leave it there for the time being. And there we are, looking good. Looking good. All right. 15,000 feet. We've just made that turn. We need to be below 12,000 here. We need to descend a little steeper. Otherwise, we're not going to make that. So let's go ahead and descend a little steeper here. Etc. etc. There we go. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to continue here with the descent and managing of the speed. I shall chime in with you guys somewhere near WA536. Okay, I'm going to continue doing the same process all the way from right here all the way to WA536, and when we are somewhere there, I'll chime in again. I won't make you guys sit through the entire process of me managing speed and altitude here. You get the point. So we'll chime in when we are at WA536. All right, excellent. Now, I nearly forgot. We can come here to our landing page, EPWA, and we can go ahead and set up the landing performance here. Okay, so we're landing into EPWA. Got that. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. Let's put that in there. Yeah, that is not right at all, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to let's check the wind here. I don't know what's wrong with the wind right now, but let's calculate the wind here and take a look. We'll put, oh god, okay, let's come down here to performance. It will let me. Okay, 290. Okay, this is just crazy. 290.02. No, this is messed up. This is messed up. I don't know why the wind is showing like this, but interesting. We can set our speeds for landing right here. Okay, so usually you do it from the landing page. Usually the weather and everything works. I don't know what's going on today with this, but yeah, I think this is the right weather. Yeah, there you go. You can set the speed and set the EPR just like that, and there you go. Okay, all good. Brilliant. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys that you've got the landing performance page right here. It usually works well. So yeah, great. I'm going to continue my descent and I will chime in with you somewhere near WA536 as planned. Okay, I have dipped below 10,000 feet, and so I've turned on my landing lights here. Also put the auto brake to minimum, or whatever you need you can set as required by the conditions and the landing field that you're going into. But for now, we are going with minimum auto brakes. We're continuing our descent. I think it's better if I continue giving you updates along this arrival procedure and our approach, rather than just meeting you right before approach. So we've got Addini here, 5,000 feet, 220 knots, both below. So we're easily going to make below 5,000 feet there. I want to hold about 3,000 feet in preparation for catching the ILS here, but we're doing it very, very slowly here. Not a problem. I can actually flatten out the descent rate a little bit. There we go. And we need to be below 220 knots, which we will be. Afterwards, we'll continue configuring our systems by going below these speeds, putting our flaps down, and by around WA534, I expect to be one flap away and landing gear away from being ready for landing. And then after that, we just catch the glide slope, and there we go. That's pretty much what it is. So we're heading on towards Addini now, and we've made that altitude restriction. That's just fine. Made the speed restriction as well. It's okay. So there you go. We're continuing our descent towards 3,000 feet, and yeah, let's continue this way. Okay, we are right past the waypoint of Sizloo now, passing on towards Lembu, and we're going to begin that turn It's going to take over any second as we continue our approach here. So let's begin slowing down further and getting our flaps ready for landing. Okay, so let's slow down here and get our flaps ready for landing. We're about to make that final looping turn that will get us in line with the runway. So there we go, begun that turn, slowing down. Hopefully the turn will help us as well to slow down and get configured for landing. There we go, we've passed that first bug pretty much. Can lower the flaps to position 2. There we go, that should help us slow down further. Let's go towards position 5. There we go. Brilliant. Okay, let's head down further in speed. Excellent, get flaps down to 15 now. There we go. Good. Nice and easy. Okay, so we've got our radios once again ready to go here. So we just need to switch from GPS to nav mode, and that will mean that in the nav lock that we have selected here on the autopilot, it's going to go and pick up the nav radio frequency right here, which is going to be the localizer. So we're just going to wait till our aircraft turns in one more time, and we're going to go flick this to nav mode, and that will get localizer going for us. Yeah, since we're on nav/lock mode. Good. Or nav lock mode rather. So waiting to make that final turn there. Okay, there we go, making that turn. Nice and easy. There we go. Lovely. Now what we can do is we can shift this to approach, and let's shift this to nav. And there we go. That will get the aircraft tuned into the localizer there. Okay. There we go. We've got the dots right there. That's also brilliant. Now, we can also put this on auto glide slope right here. And put it on auto glide slope mode right there, if we want to. There we go. And once the glide slope comes in, which is this is the glide slope, that's the glide slope. Once it comes in, our aircraft will automatically begin descending down there. Let's reduce our speed if we need to. Actually, it's a little early. Let's hold on for the time being. And can we see the runway? Well, I have no visuals of anything as of yet. We're still quite a way away from the runway there. So yeah, we're 10 nautical miles somewhere here. We're doing okay at the moment. Holding altitude more or less 3,000 feet. Good, everything set. Let's go up here, make sure that we're all good for landing. These need to be on. That I did not do. That's set already. That's good. All the lights are okay. I can turn these on. Why not? Actually, you know what? We'll do this later on. That's all good. Everything here is looking good. Did we turn on the anti-skid for takeoff? I don't think we turned on the anti-skid for takeoff. Please make sure you turn on the anti-skid for takeoff. I'm going to leave this on for now. So there is an oversight on my part. Yeah. Apart from that, everything else is looking okay. Now, landing altitude is something you need to tune in, by the way. That's something I forgot to tell you guys. Elevation here is 342 feet at Warsaw. So we should have tuned this in. Honestly, probably before takeoff. But you can do it now. It's not that big of a deal. We'll leave it like this. Should have done it before takeoff. So again, another thing I missed out. Okay, so now we're just continuing on, waiting for the glide slope to come in. And if it does, we're good. Okay, still at 160 or so knots at 15-degree flap. We're gonna go down towards 30-degree flap, which is what we're using for landing today. Okay. Good. Looking good. Radio altimeter will come to life at about 2500. Once it dips below that, we'll get our landing gear ready. Oh, would you look at that? That's runway. That's the airport there. I believe we have it in sight. Okay. There we go. We're about to capture that. Let's observe the instruments here as the glide slope comes into view for us. Okay, still waiting. It's somewhere here that we'll capture it, hopefully. So let's see how that goes. We're just waiting for the needle here to start dropping, and that will tell us that we are going where we should. Okay, flight director is on approach mode. Altitude hold mode is off because we're in approach mode anyway. There we go. Let's see. Should we reduce the speed now or... no, not yet. Perhaps not yet. One final check. Make sure everything is good. Yeah, it should be. I think we're okay here. Yep, there we go. Glide slope needle is coming down on both sides. We are on auto glide slope, so it should capture by itself. Let's see. Clear view of the airport there. Runway's right there. I believe so. Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Glide slope is alive.
Glide slope alive. We also got the glide slope light right here. We are descending. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got glide slope. So let's go ahead and slow our aircraft down to our reference speed, which is somewhere here. Yeah, somewhere here is our reference speed, so I'm going to leave it there. 135. Okay, so there we are. We can drop our flaps now. Position 25. We're below 2500. We can drop our gear. There we go. You can put away a little nav map now. We don't need it anymore. We're coming in nice and easy. The flight director is showing us the right way here. Flaps 30. And we are configured for landing completely, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready. Okay, we can turn on the runway turn off lights. Why not? Doesn't matter much. So there you go. We're ready for landing. At about 1,000 feet, I can take manual control, fly it in using the CDI. Flight director right here. Not exactly CDI, but the flight director here. There we go. Yeah, we're looking okay. Coming up on 1,000 feet. Okay, 1,000. Autopilot off. My aircraft. Flying it using the flight director pretty much. Very hard to follow this thing. It's so... the red dot and the crosshairs are so thin. But we can do a decent job. Flying it using the flight director and nothing else at the moment. can set the minimums if you want to on the radio altimeter, which we haven't today, by the way. But you can using that knob on the radio altimeter. We're okay. Coming in a little low.
Wide slope.
We're okay.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay. There we go. Reverse is deployed. Okay, welcome to Warsaw, ladies and gentlemen. Just like that. Auto brake disarmed as well. We are in. Okay, we can exit right here. Can put our flaps up. Pump on the brakes a little bit. Slow our aircraft down quite a bit. There we go. So we can have those off. Turn on taxi lights. Turn those off. Put the strobe lights off. This disarmed. That's great. We don't need the anti-skid anymore. We can turn that off. There we go. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Warsaw. I'm gonna go ahead and park this aircraft now. So flaps are up yet or no? Okay, the flaps are going, still in the process of going up there. So we'll wait for the flaps to retract. There we go. Flaps retracted, and here we are. Alrighty. Okay, the reverses are quite interesting here. Okay, now let me go and park our aircraft, and then we shall shut this aircraft down. Back to cold and dark. Okay, we have parked our aircraft in at a cargo parking of some sort, so there we go. We've managed to come in there. Let's put away our cargo charts and stuff there. We can come back here and turn the APU back on. Okay, it will spool up and you'll hear it very well. In addition to that, if you are in a bit of a hurry, you can just go up here, connect the ground power. Right, then you can quickly switch and turn off the engines if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you can just wait for the APU, which doesn't take that long anyway, to power up before you switch down. So today we're just going to go back down in sequence from the engines down through the APU to the external power to battery to cold and dark. So here we are. First things first though, before we switch power. Now, as a matter of fact, let's just switch power first, yeah? Nope, sorry, second thoughts. Let's turn off our taxi lights, turn these off. Let's turn off our strobe lights, okay, which are already off. That's great. Okay, then that's good. That's good. Window heats can come off. We don't need those anymore. And so can the pitot heats. We can turn those off. Right, these are parked. That's done. That's done. That's good. Everything else here is looking good for the time being. Let's come back down here. Strip that. Let's go back up here. Let's go back to APU power. Okay. We should have turned on the other galley power as well before takeoff, by the way. That's something to note, which we did not do. After the engine startup, you should have turned this on. But anyway, doesn't matter. We've turned that off. Packs. Okay, the packs are fine. We've switched to APU. We can turn one of these off here. These can remain on. They were always on. Let's now go ahead and turn down our engines. Shall we do that? So to do that, we just need to flick these three closed just like that. There we go. Engines have shut down. Perfect. Let's come back up here. Let's turn off these packs. Not that they're necessary, but yeah, you know. Still got APU running, so it's fine. Good. We can turn off our pumps here. Turn that off. Turn that off. There we go. All of these are off. We can also come here and turn this off. We don't really need that anymore. There we go. Looking good. Up here, is there anything else we need to turn off? Beacon lights can come off now that the engine is off. Apart from that, do I see anything that needs a turn off? The navigation lights eventually, obviously. This can come down to ground off. This can come to ground, that's fine. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, all of that is done. Now we can turn off our packs. We can close this up if you want. And we can switch to external power. Go to external power. Go here as well. Come to the APU. We can shut it off. We don't need it anymore. There we go. You can hear it's pulling down and the exhaust temperatures will go down. You can turn both of these off now. These can remain on as they were before. So no issue there. There we go. Should pretty much sum up this. And up here we can disarm the emergency lights. We can turn all of this off. Okay, there we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want, you can go to GSX and request deboarding or do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Okay, that seems good. Flaps up, a speed brake stowed, reverser stowed. Everything is looking fantastic, as it should. Okay, let's go back up here. Let's actually turn this off. Put all of this on off there. Turn off our battery as well. And ta-da. There you go. Okay. There you go. We are pretty much back to cold and dark. Unless I missed a button or two, but I doubt it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. That was the FlightSim Studios 727, the Flight Simmer way, or rather the Fly the Noob way. I made several mistakes along the way. I apologize for it, but now you know what not to do in certain circumstances. But yeah, I did make a few mistakes, but apart from that, you know, that's pretty much how you fly this thing. If you are a flight simmer and you're new to it, it is not that complicated to get flying. Obviously, there are much more in-depth and detailed tutorials available for you if after you've gotten used to the aircraft and you're a bit more comfortable with its systems and where all the buttons are and all that good stuff. You can go and take a look at some other YouTubers' tutorials. For example, the A330 driver has a very good series of tutorial on the 727s. However, they are very detailed and he goes through every single thing inside the aircraft. So if you want to check that out, do check that out. But if you're just a flight simmer getting started, that should be plenty and you can do your experimenting from there. So yeah, hope this helped. If it did, please leave a like, leave comments, always welcome. Consider subscribing to the channel, and as usual, I will see you in the next one, and until then, have a good day. Bye bye.